Hello, welcome to Life on the Other Side. My name is Ruthie, and today we're going to discuss shadow work, what it is, how it benefits you, and what is the shadow, right? So let's get into it. The shadow is an unconscious aspect of your personality that the ego does not identify with. Your shadow shows itself when it's triggered, either through social interactions or relationships, anxiety, sadness, the list goes on. The unconscious mind contains repressed emotions from painful events causing impulsive behaviors, unwanted patterns that form your dark side. So, pretty much, if you have a dark side, that's what formed it. The shadow is composed of parts of you that you've forgotten, abandoned, or suppressed in order to grow and fit into society's norm. If you think back to your childhood, right? How were you? How did you express yourself? Were you an outgoing kid? Did you talk to everybody? Were you all over the place? Did you ask a million questions? Um, did you have a lot of energy? All those things. Um, and you were rejected, reprimanded for certain things you didn't understand why. We don't even remember a lot of these things because obviously we were little, but they do something to us and they stay within us. You could have been rejected by any family members, siblings, parents, whatever, teachers, other kids in school, being embarrassed, being put on the spot, fear to answer a question that you were put on the spot in class that you weren't prepared for, in the, with fear of having the wrong answer, being laughed at. Although we forget these moments as we grow older, they get stored in our subconscious. Our emotion of it gets stored there. So there's so many reasons and ways that we get reprimanded for what others deem as bad. And what do? We adjust our behaviors accordingly. So, like I said, these are all stored and locked in our unconscious mind. Shadow work is the process of revealing, accepting, and integrating these parts of yourself that you have repressed and rejected. The goal is to make the unconsciousness conscious, right? So you may work on them in self-reflection and acceptance. I do want to throw out there that I am not a medical professional. However, if you are interested in doing the shadow work and you have severe trauma and you feel that you can't go through this alone, I do suggest a life coach, spiritual coach, a therapist, a healthcare professional, or even a shadow work guidebook. They're everywhere. You can get them anywhere. With that being said, I also recommend that while doing this work, you journal and you take notes so that you have something to go back on, so that you can identify your triggers and maybe new epiphanies will come up. Things come up all the time. You get all these light bulb moments and you're like, oh shit, okay, I get that. That's how we get to the root of what's causing them. This is important because not only do you heal, but you, like I said, can identify your triggers and toxic patterns in your life, and that's how we change them. And in doing so, you gain courage. You'll develop a deeper love, understanding, and acceptance for yourself and for others, which in turn will benefit relationships to come. Shadow work helps you take notice of the ego within and separate the egotistical thoughts so that you can gain empathy and compassion for others. When you are compassionate and you have empathy for others, you all of a sudden begin to notice more positive emotions like gratitude begin to rise within yourself. Gratitude is the highest form of love. You cannot be in a negative state of mind and in a state of gratitude at the same time. Absolutely impossible. When you are feeling gratitude, everything changes. It's when you're thankful for things that you have or things around you. I mean, there is no greater feeling, or no higher form of love. If you're in a negative state, you can think of 5 to 10 things more if you have more that you're grateful for. Sincere things, don't just like randomly pick things that seriously like move your heart. And then I want you to be mindful of how you start feeling when you're really in that place. You're closing your eyes and you're grateful for those things and you're seeing those things. Notice how your body relaxes. You might even get a smile on your face. You can change your mood from negative to positive with gratitude. And be mindful of how you start to feel when you're doing it, because then it becomes easier every time that you do it. Gratitude will totally help your mental and physical health. So, to be able to do this properly and to get the most out of it, we need to understand our psyche. Psyche is a term that is used to describe the inner world of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. It's the source of our experiences, motivations, and behaviors, and it's constantly evolving and changing throughout our lives. Understanding the psyche is the key to understanding ourselves and the world around us. So, consciousness, what is that? For you, those that don't understand that term, consciousness is the part of our mind that is aware of our thoughts and experiences. We're aware right now that we're doing this, we're watching this, we are hearing this, we're aware of it, right? So the unconsciousness is the part of our mind that contains thoughts, feelings, and experiences that are outside of our awareness. So these are situations that have occurred in our life that have gave us a severe emotion that has stayed with us in this little secret part of our back of our head somewhere that we don't know we even still are carrying. You know, that kid that bullied you in elementary school, that embarrassed you in front of the whole school, that made you feel so little and small. You're carrying that. We're carrying that, and we don't even realize that we are. So, the collective unconsciousness is the part of the mind that contains universal symbols and themes that are shared by all people. Understanding the psyche gives us self awareness of our emotions, feelings, and thoughts, which could help us make better choices in our lives, which is absolutely important, right? So there's different forms of shadow work. There's journaling, meditation, therapy, working with a spiritual coach or a life coach, and the shadow work guidebook. The shadow work guidebook is available. You could find it on Amazon. You could find it on TikTok. You could even find it with me. We'll get into that later. And I think that a little bit of all of those things should definitely, you shouldn't just do one or the other. I highly recommend doing it all, because you will get different things from different things. When you journal and you go back, you'll get something from that. If you're writing about your past and so forth. Meditation, absolutely. But meditation, if you're not familiar with it, might be a little more difficult to do, because it takes time to be able to quiet the mind, to get into a place where you're receiving instead of just chatter, 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 chatter. So the goal is to bring the unconscious to consciousness, integrate it into your life, and work on it from there. You just merged them. Now they're not separate. You're whole. You're one whole. There's no other person. Okay. So we all have multiple parts of us. And I laugh because at one time in my life, I had 7 personalities. If you know me, you know. I'm glad to say today that I only have one. However, I did have 7, and you know, they were all so crazy, different but crazy. And I've been through a lot in my life. I've had a lot of struggle, and I wouldn't have gotten to that place that uh, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am if it wasn't for those parts of me. Because no matter what, and no matter how fucked up or choices that I made or whatever it was, all the things that I have been through and all the things that I have done, at the end of the day, it was those parts of me that got me through all the shit I went through. Got me to the point where I was when I was ready to release them because I no longer needed those personalities, those parts of me. And what it's so important for you to understand is that no matter what you've been through, I don't care, addiction, been there, done that. Prison, been there, done that. Single mom, things you might have done to people, choices that you might have made for survival, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Those parts of you got you through that time. That was your reality, and that's what got you through. So, for that alone, you should embrace and love and be grateful for those parts of you, because you wouldn't have made it through. So, although I may have parts of me that I was not proud of, I own it and I am grateful and I love all those parts of me. And when I was ready, I released those parts of me. Doesn't mean that they don't exist. It doesn't mean that I don't own it. I own it till today. This is why I do the videos that I do, because I want others to understand these parts of themselves so that they can heal, because the world needs healing. And once you begin this healing process and you get to a point where you're like, oh shit, okay, I get it, you can start sharing your story and help somebody else. Even if your story is the same as so many other people's in a context, it doesn't matter. It's still your story and it's not the same as anybody else's. And those that may not resonate with me might resonate with you. And that's what this is about. So know that all parts of you were worthy and beautiful. They were worthy because they got you through. And I don't think I need to say any more on that. You know what I mean? Um, it is so important to have compassion for ourselves, to embrace and have acceptance for all of our parts, without a doubt. When you start accepting and showing yourself that type of unconditional love, that is growth on a major level. And in turn, you will start understanding other people and what they're going through. And instead of being defensive or aggressive, you will have compassion for them. And I would think that you would agree that a lot of things that we've gone through in life, we could have used somebody that was compassionate, right? So when you start doing this work, eventually you will catch yourself having, because, okay, let's face it, we're not perfect, right? I mean, just because you're spiritual, just because you have an awakening, just because you are changing the path that you're on and you're redirecting yourself and you're trying to do things better in life, eat better, all that good stuff. That doesn't mean that we don't have bad days. Like, we're human, and considering our environments and the world today and how just messed up everything is, naturally we're going to have a bad day. So with that being said, you will start to catch yourself having negative thoughts or saying something negative, and you can stop mid-sentence. I've done it a million times. I'm starting to say something and then I catch myself and I just stop, and everybody's looking at me and I'm like, I don't know why I was going to say what I was going to say. I don't resonate with it. Done deal. I don't finish it. Bam, I just redirected myself. If it's a thought, even if the thought process went through all the way or the sentence I said went through all the way, doesn't matter. I caught myself. I'm changing it by saying out loud, I don't know why I said that. I don't resonate with that. That was old me. However you want to say it, whatever works for you. And that's it. You just redirected yourself. And it's really cool to do that, because then you start noticing, like, all the changes in your life and you start getting more control. I'm I was used to mind fuck myself. Like I can get into my head like nobody's business. My shit just starts going. I'm playing out every scenario from every aspect, from every person, and usually it was negative. I'm in the defense. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna approach it this way. I'm gonna go at it this way, right? And meanwhile, all this shit is just my brain getting the best of me and running wild because I had no control. I let it do that. I'm sorry, there's a glare and I'm trying to get out of it. Please forgive me. It's still there. I don't know. That made it better. Okay. So when you start catching yourself doing that, you can change it to something positive and you'll start noticing your triggers. You'll start catching it before even saying things. You'll start thinking before you speak, which is so important. My brother used to tell me that as a kid, like my whole life. Think before you speak, think before you act, right? And I understood what he was saying, but I didn't understand why. I didn't like, and now I get it. I get it. And that's me. I'm mindful of everything I say and how I react. I don't allow my mind to take over, which then will make my reaction take over and be crazy. So the shadow carries all the things we do not want to know about ourselves and that we do not like. While it's difficult and painful, it's imperative that we own our shadow to bring it into a relationship with our consciousness. We must own our shit, period, point blank. I don't care what it is. You got to own all the aspects of you, everything you've done to others, said, embarrassed, what, it doesn't matter. Own it, learn from it, see it from a different perspective. That's what we're doing when we're doing the shadow work. We're looking into our trauma as an observer, non judgmentally, from a third party aspect, and we're observing. We're observing why, how, and maybe what could have been done different. Maybe what could have been done different on your part. Maybe you see it now differently and you're like, shit, at the end of the day, I caused that. Like that shit blew up like that because of me, even though all these years you've been victim. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, for a lot of people, it maybe wasn't you that caused a situation to happen, but how you reacted to it, how it went down, you could totally own that. It could have went a different way had you reacted differently, right? There's always things that we can own of ourselves and learn from and grow. So when we do that, we must have compassion for ourselves, not judge it, not feel it. We're not there to feel it and relive it. We're there to learn from it non judgmentally and to release it. That's it. It's very healing. I gotta say, um, it's challenging to face a lot of parts of ourselves. It's challenging to rip off that ugly truth about ourselves. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of time, like when I was doing the shadow work, man, things were coming up that I didn't even know about myself. Like I seen it in other people, and I would be like, oh, that's so ugly of them. But it was a reflection of myself because you understand that what we see in the outer world, the people around us, the situations, that's just a reflection of what's happening within us. And I didn't know that. So that was a hard pill for me to swallow when I realized that all the ugly things I seen in those around me was a reflection of myself, and then doing the work and having to own that and admit that. But it was liberating, it was freeing, I'll tell you that. So we may think that we care about other people's opinions, right? Which I mean, most people do. But the reality of it is our own feelings against ourselves. So it's how we really feel about ourselves that we project onto other people. We don't even realize it. That's why we get defensive, insecurities, like all that stuff. You know, ever think of a scenario? You're on the phone, okay, you got a date, you're on the phone with your girlfriend, you're like, you're talking and you're having conversation, and then you just get so defensive over something that was said, and now you have a negative thought. And that thought, your brain is running wild with it. Before you know it, you have a whole scenario played out in your head, and it hasn't even happened. Like, it hasn't even happened yet. You're just going off a what if, an insecurity of your own, an issue of your own, and you make this whole scenario in your head. Let me explain something to you. The universe does not know destructive thinking. The universe does not understand I'm just joking or I'm talking shit. It only understands frequency and vibration. Everything around you, everything we are ourselves, frequency, vibration. That's what everything is made of. So if you're putting out a low vibration because you let your mind go crazy and you get into your own head and you're thinking of scenarios and situations that haven't even occurred, like, that's what you're calling for yourself. The universe is going to mirror that back to you. It's like, even when you're like, oh, fuck my life, that was like my phrase forever. That's low vibration. Words have vibrations, low vibrations and high vibrations. So you got to be mindful of the words you use. Never joke, even in a joking matter, something negative about yourself. I was big on, fuck, I'm so stupid, why'd I do that? No, that is low vibration. That's what I'm telling the universe about myself, that I feel about myself. So why would I get anything more deserving? Right? It's only mirroring back what I'm putting out. So when I found all this out, I can't tell you how, like, the last time I missed a day from work, because we've all done it, make up the lie. I don't, oh, I'm sick, I gotta miss work, or my kid is sick, I can't go to work today. Well, I can't even say that in a lie to get out of work, because I'm not trying to bring that illness to myself or to my child by using those words and putting that out into the universe. I am so mindful of everything that I say nowadays, and it's good because now you don't even do the little white lies that you do, but because that's what you're going to get back. And we must understand that. So, taking that into consideration on top of everything else will guide you in the path that you're looking to go. Um, we are vibration, like I said, and the universe doesn't know the difference. So, it's the same thing. If we're in a low vibration state because of our traumas and our dark side, our shadow self, what do you think the universe is going to reciprocate back to you? It doesn't know different. It only knows vibration. So that's the same as, if you don't have unconditional love for yourself, if you are not accepting of all parts of yourself, good, bad, whatever, however you want to judge it, which we should not be judging, but how society judges it. Let me rephrase. Um, if you can't be accepting of all parts of you, how could you expect anybody else to? We are not going to find unconditional love anywhere outside of ourselves, period. You could think so, you can try, you can think you got it with your kids. Listen, I was the unconditional love for my kid, unconditional love for my kids. No, no. How could I have unconditional love for anybody else if I don't even have it for myself? How could I be all accepting of anybody else if I can't even be all accepting of myself? And that goes in the same way. How can I expect anybody to have unconditional love for me when I can't have that for myself? Makes sense, right? So nobody else is going to come save us. Nobody else is going to give us unconditional love or fill that void inside of us. We have to save ourselves. We have to show compassion and love unconditionally and acceptance to ourselves. Once we do that and we have that for ourselves, that will give us an overflowing cup. We will be full and then our cup could overflow. And that's what you give to the world. See, we give our children, we give our husbands or our wives, our mothers, all these pieces of us. And we're like running on empty because we're not filled. We're not fulfilled. And eventually all of that runs out. We have nothing else to give, right? And that's why we're here where we're at, because we have given all of ourselves to everybody else. There's parts of us that we can't go off of because we don't accept. We have shame, we have guilt, we have all these things, we have traumas. And now we're in a position that we're like, anything, just fucking help. Like, take this away, how I'm feeling. And we have no choice but to turn to ourselves. And that is the only way, that's the only way you're going to get saved, is to save yourself, to give yourself everything that you're lacking, because everything that we need is already within us. And we have been programmed to believe everything is outside of us. It's not. God is within us. We are God. We are made from God. We are fucking God. My daughter is made from me. She's me. She's a piece of me. She's a part of me. She's me. We shared a womb, we shared a soul forever. Or not a soul, but a body, a vehicle. So love and acceptance and compassion for ourselves will go a long way. And when we do that, it overflows, and then we can give to others. And we can give better than we've ever given before. We can give on a different level with a different experience, something real, something authentic. And our children, they see that and they will follow that. We have fucked up generation after generation after generation for way too many years, of no fault of our parents or our grandparents or our great grandparents. But here it stops. This is where it should stop. The world is in a very chaotic place. And this is when you look around and say, holy shit, okay, I'm not doing this. I need to have better for my kid. I need to be better for my kids. And the only way to show them how to really be as a person, as a human, is by example. How can we expect anything from our children that we can't do ourselves? If we can't control our emotions, our actions, our minds, how do we expect them to do it? We can't even teach them to do it because we haven't even mastered that ourselves. This is the problem. We point our fingers at everybody else because everybody should be a certain way, but we aren't that way. And now we can be that way. You got to put the work in. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And it really doesn't have to be that hard either. It really doesn't. So if you are ready to dive in to the core of yourself, if you're ready to do the shadow work and really put the work in to control your mind, control your life, to release what no longer serves you, and to create a life from an authentic place of yourself, a life that resonates with you now, then I highly suggest that you do the shadow work. And if you're looking for guidance, I am a life coach, spiritual coach. I am certified transformational coach. I am also certified in sound healing and vibration and energy clearing. I will be posting videos on the sound healing and Reiki energy healing for those that are not familiar with it, so that you can see the benefits of those experiences as well, especially when doing the shadow work, because we're bringing so much to the surface, and this will clear you out and really give you energy, give you new life, put new into you. With that being said, if the one-on-one package is out of your budget, I also do make the shadow work guidebooks specifically for you as an individual that will benefit you. We'll do a consultation. I'll ask you some questions, get a little information, so that way I can create something that will work and will be designed for you specifically. Please look out for my videos. Like I said, there'll be one with the sound healing and the energy clearing coming up. And I also have another video that I will be posting soon on mind power. So we do the shadow work, right? We release everything that doesn't serve us. Then what? This is a video on how to rewire your brain, how to take control of your brain, your thoughts, which will then take control of your actions and your feelings, because everything is one. So look out for that video. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the like, share, comment below. If this resonated with you at all, if you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. You can reach me at my website, www.lifeontheotherside.com, on Facebook at Life on the Other Side, and you can DM me or you can comment here below. Thank you.